Oh, YouTube, don't you dare be sour. Clap for episode 26 of Locker Talk and feel the power. Okay, that was a bit over the top, but I would like to welcome you to episode 26 of Locker Talk, the show everything WWE, past, present, and future. I am your host, Koltyn, here to give you my thoughts on another fantastic pay-per-view done by the WWE Night of Champions here on this September the 20th, almost spit everywhere, 2015. So we're not going to have a lot of fluff. We're not going to have a lot of sidebars. We're going to get right into the action. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. So let's get to it. First match of the night, the Cosmic Wasteland of Stardust and the Ascension taking on Neville and the Lucha Dragons. I've said for a while now that the Cosmic Wasteland needed a win in a big way, and boy, did they get it. As much as I hate seeing Neville lose a match, it was good to see Stardust pick up the win for his team to get momentum for that team moving forward. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense if Neville and the Lucha Dragons won that match. I hope that they're moving on to bigger and better things with those guys. But hopefully the Cosmic Wasteland can become a pretty good team in the next few months with Neville and with Stardust and the Ascension. Those guys are really good. They're all really hardworking. It's amazing to see where the Ascension have gone in their careers. They were arguably the best team in NXT history, and within the span of a few weeks, they were literally nothing. And I hope this is their chance to get back in. As good old JR would say, to make the best of their minutes, which I think is very good, solid advice in the wrestling business. You have to make the best of your minutes. And I think a lot of guys did that tonight. A lot of women, or I don't know about a lot of women, but, there's only 2 on the card. But we'll get to that. Don't you worry. We've got a full breakdown. So strap in, buckle up. We're going on an awesome ride. First match of the main show, the first one obviously being on the pre-show. Night of Champions kicks off with the Intercontinental Championship match, the first match of the night, as I like to call it, the Dolph Ziggler slot of Ryback against Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental title. I saw a lot of rumblings throughout the Twitter sphere and the Internet's wrestling community, or IWC for you cool kids out there, that it would be really difficult for Kevin Owens to pull a good match out of Ryback. And while it was no means the best or 50th best match of Kevin Owens' career, I thought it was still solid. It was a solid match. I thought it was planned well. Kevin Owens rolls up Ryback to become your new WWE Intercontinental Champion. That's why I'm now rocking my Kevin Owens shirt in support of old Fight Owens Fight. I was trying to think of a nickname for him there. I don't know if he has a nickname, but that's okay. He doesn't need a nickname. Kevin Owens is above nicknames, and I'm sure if he had one, he would probably hate it and tell you all about how much he hates it on his Twitter. So good for you, Kevin Owens. Congratulations, well deserved. I feel like it'll make the Intercontinental title mean something. Just hope that it's not a cursed title and that Kevin Owens will be injured sometime within the next month. That would really suck. I think WWE would suffer a lot for not having Kevin Owens on the show. But overall, a pretty solid match. I enjoyed it, at least. If you didn't, I feel like that's your own fault. I feel like the people who didn't enjoy the show are the people who weren't going to enjoy it before they even saw it. Those kind of people who are just going to be negative for negative sake, and that's unfortunate because I feel like if you just kind of sit back and let yourself enjoy it, it'll be a good show more often than not. There's obviously going to be some times when it's not such a good show. And speaking of show off, Dolph Ziggler. Okay. That was a really, really bad segue. Andy from RTM Wrestling, you're much better at that than me. And by better than that, I mean yours are worse in the best possible way. The next match, Dolph Ziggler and Rusev. And the match, I feel like nobody wanted to see. I feel like we're all really tired out on this feud. It's a really stupid feud, I think. I think most people think that. But they actually had a really good match. If you just take all the precursors away and everything that happened beforehand, they put on a really good match. It was back and forth, a lot of good action. Lana threw a shoe. Throwing shoes is fun, unless you're getting a shoe thrown at you. Just ask our old friend W how that feels. But a really solid match. I thought that was it was good. You know, regardless of what's happening in the feud, they're pulling out good matches, and that's really all you can ask for. But I hope that this will end soon, and that they'll move on to better things. But I doubt that. They honestly, I don't think they can pull this out, and they can't hold this out. I'm sorry. They can't hold this out until Lana gets back. That's going to be several months down the road. Oh, I'm sorry. We have a person who is texting me watching the live feed. So I'd like to thank this person watching the live feed. A Matt Package. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your last name. But thank you for watching. Thank you for being a fan on the show. And if you keep watching and continue to chat with us, maybe we'll have you on the show sometime. I'm sure I would love it. I know the main event will love it. It'll be great. So either way, thank you for watching. I do appreciate that greatly. Anywho, I would like to move on. I ruined my good segue because I was going to say something about people being negative and how they needed to be positive, but the matches didn't go in the order. Anyways, next match was the tag team match between Bubba Ray and Devon against Kofi Kingston and Big E. The Dudley Boyz against the New Day for the WWE tag team titles. And first off, I just want to mention the fact that I'm here looking at the Wikipedia page, and it shows the matches and the times of each of the matches. And the Dudleys against the New Day was the shortest match, but it was at 9 minutes and 57 seconds. So essentially, all of the matches on the card tonight got 10 plus minutes, and so that's good. I feel like wrestling was featured a lot in this show, and all the guys and gals worked really hard and did a good job to pull off a good show. And so with that, you guys know how I feel about the New Day. I absolutely love the New Day. If you don't love the New Day at this point, you're probably a black-hearted, terrible person who doesn't believe in Santa Claus. And so I don't want to be your friend anyway. So please just try to avoid me if you do not like the New Day. But they put on a good match. They get Xavier Woods' hair is obviously a big topic, looking like Rufio from Hook, which I have seen. Let's not get that confused from my comments on Twitter. I have seen the movie. I enjoyed the movie. Everybody loves Robin Williams. Farmer, quit tweeting me. I'm trying to do a show here. It was a good match, as always. Xavier Woods on the outside with the trombone. I absolutely love with the frequent tags of Big E and Kofi Kingston stomping on insert Dudley here. That's creepy as fuck, Farmer. Pardon my French. Sorry. Anywho, it was a really good match. I love the New Day. I feel like if you don't like wrestling, you would love the New Day. Everybody loves the New Day. Power of positivity. We all need to be more positive in life. But what I really enjoyed was at the end of the match, Xavier Woods coming in and stopping the 3 count from the 3D, which has never been kicked out of before. I don't know if that's a legitimate thing, but I know for sure JBL definitely has never kicked out of it. #burn. But Xavier Woods comes in and breaks it up. New Day kind of acts like a heel for once, which is nice. I feel like with guys like the New Day and Kevin Owens, they have to work twice as hard to be a good, convincing heel, just because they're so entertaining, they're so good at what they do. People are going to cheer them, which they definitely did tonight. So bringing out the table at the end there by the New Day to put a Dudley through it was really good heel work. A little subtle thing like Kofi Kingston kicking, I think it was Devon right before they go to pick up the table just to keep Devon down. It was just another one of those little things that I felt they did a really good job of acting like heels. #heel. We're doing all sorts of hashtags tonight. It's going to be fun, guys. Keep strapped in. We're still going to go hard. And so I really enjoyed that match. It was a lot of fun. And so now we get to, that's good tea. Now we get to the, I feel somehow ended up being one of the better booked matches coming into the pay-per-view. And that was Nikki Bella against Charlotte for the Divas Championship. And it's been said time and time again. Once again, you all know how I feel about the devil known as Nikki Bella. It's obvious, and it saddens me to say this, that they were just trying to get her through the time of AJ Lee's reign and then never mention her again and then have her drop the belt, which is sad. It's petty, and I'm not a fan of that. But the reign of terror is over. Charlotte has won the Divas title, and I hope this leads to much better things, much better viewing of Divas matches. Honestly, I hate giving credit where this credit is due, but Nikki worked a good match. I don't think I've ever said that she's a terrible wrestler. She's definitely, I've said it before, she's improved a lot over the past, months and the past year or two. She's leaps and bounds ahead of where she used to be, but I still can't stand her, so I'm never going to cheer for her. But she did really well, working the great ring psychology, working on the knee of Charlotte throughout the match. It was a very Ric Flair kind of thing to do. Well, it was really any decent wrestler kind of thing to do. So I'm not gonna make that comparison. Don't just ignore the Ric Flair comparison there. That was not called for there. But Nikki was really impressive. I was really impressed with the way she went about this match. A lot of it seemed kind of weird and a little bit off. But at least she was trying to attempt to do some sort of a ring psychology kind of thing. But I thought the ending was a little bit weird. Nikki was kind of beating on her the whole match, and then just one spear from Charlotte, and then right into the figure 8, and the match is over. I feel like the spear should have been a spot where they kind of work Charlotte back into the match and have her fight back and then go for the figure 8. But they kind of skipped all that middle stuff and went right into figure 8. So I don't know if that means that the match was running long or if they just planned it that way. But yeah, I thought Charlotte did a really good job of selling through the match. Although I feel like personally for me, I feel Charlotte works better as a heel, that kind of genetically superior, non-Nazi that Seth Rollins crazy ass girlfriend thing. But the genetically superior, I'm better than you kind of heel work. And so I feel like that kind of worked against her a little bit in this match, but I thought she still pulled it off in a believable way. And she came out the champion. And we're reinforcing the fact that Ric Flair's new gimmick in retirement is the old crying man. And that's okay. You want to see a little vulnerability from a guy who might not be the best person in the world. Yeah, I hope we move on to new and better things. I hope we don't have to keep bashing Nikki Bella every time we do a show, every time RTM Wrestling does a show, even though I absolutely love your rants, all of your rants, especially your special Nikki Bella rants. They're great. But I hope we can move on to bigger and better things. And so, like I said, with the fact that this was one of the better built feuds for the night, I feel like this next match was a match that was both built well and built not so well. And that was the match of the Wyatt family of Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Braun Strowman against Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and mystery partner. And so I feel like when they started this, part of me was kind of like, we've seen the whole Wyatt Shield thing. They've done this before. I don't need to see it again. And while I still feel that way, I like the stuff that they did with Bray and Roman, where Bray was kind of being weird about Roman's daughter and the whole anyone but you thing. That was really good, and it made the feud personal. And for whatever reason, they just dropped that. And they threw Dean Ambrose in, and I think that's fine. I obviously enjoyed Dean Ambrose as much as the next fella, but I would have liked if they would have kept up the anyone but you thing and just kind of kept it on that personal level. And I feel like they kind of dropped the ball a little bit there. But the whole mystery partner thing intrigued me, and I think it intrigued a lot of people. And they did a decently good job at hiding who that person was going to be. I did see a few things online earlier today that I chose not to click on for the sake of trying to be surprised. And yeah, I thought the mystery partner thing was good. I'm glad that they didn't announce it earlier. I'm glad that they waited up until the match started. And it was a nice surprise in the rarity of being surprised in WWE these days. It's nice for that kind of a thing to happen. Oh, it's good tea. I'm sorry. I just make really good sweet tea. I'm sorry that I get distracted by its awesomeness. Anyways, so the mystery fan I just blew my own joke. That sucks. The mystery partner turned out to be some random fan that went in the ring and stared at Roman Reigns in an awkward, loving manner before he was tackled out of the ring, and Bray Wyatt gets a nice little haha pointing laugh kind of thing, which I thought was fun. But really, guys, if you go to a WWE event, I know nobody that watches this show is dumb enough to do this, but just don't jump the barricade. Don't run in the ring. You're going to get tackled. You're not going to be famous for the reasons you want to be. You're not going to really get attention. It's just stupid. Anyways, the mystery partner comes out to be none other than good old Y2J Chris Jericho. And this was one of the guys that people had speculated about where he might be the mystery partner. And considering all the things that it could have been, I thought that Chris Jericho was a good choice as a partner to start with, and how it ended up. I thought that they used Jericho perfectly in this capacity. First off, being that I think it was his last major feud, but his last feud was with Bray Wyatt, and so he obviously has some history with Wyatt, and so that makes the logical sense, which is a rarity in the WWE these days, to have Jericho be the partner of Roman and Ambrose, Reigns and Ambrose, Roman and Dean. Either way, semantics. But yeah, I thought it worked really well. He's still got it. He never lost it, and so I thought he performed his job admirably. It's in speaking with the end, Jericho takes the loss. He passes out from the big bear hug by Braun Strowman, which is brilliant by WWE. People clamoring that they wanted some up and comer, some new guy to come up and be in the match. You wouldn't have had the finish that we would have had if you would have had that happen. You have Jericho there to put Braun Strowman over in a huge way. Jericho is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and he put Braun Strowman up on that next echelon of potential future stars, and he made it so that Reigns and Ambrose didn't have to take the loss, and he made it so the Wyatts could get a win, which never happens. And so I thought that they used Jericho absolutely perfectly. And so after the match, the Wyatts walk out. They go follow the Buzzards to catering or wherever it is that they go after a match. Meet up with Zack Ryder, contractual Zack Ryder mention. And so we get Ambrose and Reigns and Jericho in the ring, and Jericho's kind of down a little bit. And I thought personally it kind of looked like maybe Ambrose and Reigns were gonna beat up on old Jericho, which admittedly, after the moment, hindsight being 2020, would have made a lot of sense, because that would have been a definite heel kind of move. And so they would have to either A, turn them actually heel, or B, explain why that they would do that such heelish thing. They're not John Cena. They can't do heel things and get away with it and still be John Cena. But Jericho kind of pushes past Dean Ambrose, potentially leading to another feud, either immediately or down the road with Jericho and Ambrose, which should be absolutely amazing. If that happens, I will be fully invested. Whatever the stakes or the means of the match are, it should just be a great match either way. I'm curious to see whether that is going to start immediately, whether Jericho is going to be going on the road and doing TV tapings right now, or if they're just going to reintroduce it at some point later in the future. But I saw a lot of people really excited on Twitter about Jericho being a heel. A lot of people like Jericho being the heel better. I'm not really biased one way or the other. I think he works really well both ways. Anyways, so that match is over, and now we get to the Rollins hour, the hour of Rollins, night of Rollins, whatever you want to call it, anything. The hour-ish long Seth Rollins matches. The first one being the WWE United States Championship match against John Cena. And this was obviously going to be a really good match. These guys have done nothing but put on great matches all year. This is easily the best year of Seth Rollins' career. This is easily the best year of John Cena's career. And so I was really excited to see these two go at it again. We've already seen it once, but I don't care. I'll see it again, and I'll see it again and again and again. And so they do a lot of cool stuff in this match. It's kind of similar to the previous one that they did at SummerSlam, but without Jon Stewart. And so I really liked it. Cena pulled out a reverse suplex. His leg drop off the top wasn't the worst he's ever done, so that's good. His Hurricane Rana I thought was really, really good. I think that's probably just because it's Seth Rollins and he could sell what's a really offensive comparison to make here? He could sell a 3D TV to Stevie Wonder. I don't know. That was probably really bad, but I couldn't think of anything else other than a blind joke, which is probably pretty bad of me. Anyways, sorry. Yeah, it's a good match. Really enjoyed it. I feel like I'm saying that for all these matches. I'm trying to make it different for you guys, but I can't. I'm sorry. It'll be better eventually. Matt will be back. I promise. He's the main event is experiencing some technical issues in the computer department. So if any of you tech whizzes out there knows how to fix computers or make them not work bad, tweet us at WWE Locker Talk. talk to us about wrestling, or tell Matt how to fix his computer so you can get him back on the show, because I know you all secretly like him more than you like me. Where am I? Oh, anywho, so John Cena beats Seth Rollins cleanly after one attitude adjustment, which is a rarity, and that's a barbarity, and yeah, clarity. Anywho, I'm getting off track again. I'm really sorry. So Cena beats Rollins. I'm really excited about this. Just the fact that we can bring the United States Open Championship. That's a terrible joke. I'm sorry. I need to not look at Twitter when I'm doing a show. Brings back the U.S. Open Championship challenges. That should be good. That's the best work that Cena's done in a long time. And as Farmer suggested to me on Twitter, maybe Kevin Owens isn't happy only holding one title. Maybe he wants to hold two of them and be the United States Intercontinental Champion, and we can have more awesome Cena Owens matches. But anyone that Cena faces in these U.S. Open challenges seems to be a really good match, so I'm not going to complain. Seth Rollins, being the heel that he is, tries to run out of the match, and good old Super Cena says, "No, no, no, sir. You cannot. You have a contractual obligation to compete in this next match against the Vigilante Sting, trademark WWE." And so Cena gives him an attitude adjustment on the outside, throws him back in the ring, to which maybe would have been the perfect time for Sheamus to be like, "Oh, hey, he's injured. I should probably run out and be like, oh, hey, kick him in the face." But no, that didn't happen. So Sting comes out, and Sting and Seth Rollins have a much better match than I ever expected them to do. Sting took some huge bumps in this match, that falling back on the Spanish announce table, who's getting a shout out in our show again, falling back on the Spanish announce table, hitting his head. It looked really gruesome. He was really bruised up on his arm and on his side and on his back and shoulders. And he does a crossbody off the top rope, which is really impressive. And, reverse that strike. Let's go back a second. The awesome superplex into a suplex combination by Seth Rollins is absolutely fantastic. Somebody needs to use that more. Everybody needs to use that more. It's a great move. Fantastic. All right, moving back on. Fast forward. Here we go. And so Sting is obviously beat up a little bit. I'm not. Once again, they're kind of blurring the lines a little bit between what's real and what's not, and that's what we all love about wrestling, isn't it? Sting is obviously hurt. I'm sure that it was just for show, but I'm sure he probably was hurting quite a bit as well, and so his acting didn't necessarily have to be so good. I'm sure a lot of that pain was real, and he sold it really well, I guess, unless it was real, in which case, But Seth Rollins gets the victory over the Vigilante Sting, which Tim McCarver, not a terrible thing to be a vigilante. I think Batman is technically a vigilante, or some DC superhero who I care nothing about. None of them are cool as Marvel's Agent Phil Coulson, the coolest superhero ever, just so you know. And so, okay, Seth Rollins has just been through, let's see, 16 and 30 minutes of match, 31 minutes of match, and obviously the only thing missing in this recipe for the destruction of Seth Rollins is the Celtic Warrior Sheamus. Out comes Sheamus, and as I'm yelling at the screen for Seth to run and get the heck out of here, because who is stupid enough to stay in the ring when there's a big angry ginger man that wants to come after you and kick you in the face and give you a concussion. But sadly, kayfabe is kind of sort of a thing. And so Sheamus comes in, kicks Seth Rollins in the face, probably gives him a concussion. Who knows? It usually happens. And so comes out, and then boom, fire, flames. The big red monster Kane makes his return to do what? I don't know. He's walking down the ring. He's obviously interrupting Sheamus, so it would appear that he doesn't want Sheamus to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But he comes out and he choke slams Seth Rollins, which doesn't make lick of sense to me. I know he's mad at Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins sent him on a vacation to Hawaii, I believe. So apparently Kane isn't a fan of his pasty white legs and being at the beach or something along those lines. And so Kane obviously needs to get revenge. And the devil's favorite demon comes out and choke slams Seth Rollins. And as Sheamus scurries away in all of his infinite wisdom, tries to come back in the ring and convince Kane to please move in a nice gentlemanly fashion, as one Drew Carey might have done to Kane in the Royal Rumble. To Kane, please move, get out of the way so that Sheamus can cash in his Money in the Bank. But instead, Kane just beats up on Sheamus and blurring the lines again of whether or not he is a face or a heel. I would assume he's a face because he beat up Seth Rollins and stopped Sheamus. So I guess technically it's pretty clear, cut and dry. But so then Kane goes and tombstones Seth Rollins, which is a move by some other person who is going to remain nameless. That's not true. No, he's not. I want to talk about that in a little bit. But so Night of Champions goes off air with Kane standing tall over Seth Rollins. And so I'm wondering if this leads to a program with Seth Rollins and Kane. I'm not entirely psyched about that, just because, I mean, yeah, it's nice to see Kane come back as the Demon Kane, but I'm not really excited to see him wrestle main event matches for at least the next month. But I guess I'll get through it. I'll survive if I have to watch Kane. At least they're adding and trying to change his character a little bit. I'll take it that. But another couple things that popped up on tonight's show that I just want to discuss very quickly. Monday night on Raw, tomorrow night, right after Raw, they're doing a new show on the WWE Network hosted by good old JBL. That felt kind of weird. Where he goes through and he talks about wrestling with these wrestling legends. And the first one that JBL will be interviewing is none other than everybody's best friend, Eric Bischoff. And not the most popular guy ever in the wrestling business for kayfabe reasons and for realsy reasons. But I think it should be a cool, fun interview. Once again, disclaimer, take whatever Eric Bischoff says with a grain of salt. With that said, though, I feel like in a lot of the more recent interviews I've heard of him doing for the WWE, I feel like he's probably a bit more honest than, say, Vince Russo, for example, who Bischoff has called out in an interview recently, and he calls out Russo again in this show, calling him a liar, which is completely true. Vince Russo is kind of a terrible person, and so I would put Bischoff in a level right up ahead of Russo as people I'm choosing to believe in life. And whether or not what he says is true, it should be a really interesting interview. It should be a really interesting concept. And I think JBL can do the job well, unlike anything he ever did while he was wrestling. He can never do the job. But it should be interesting. And the next thing we get to is the announcement of the, what do they call it, the month of hell or the highway to hell, or AC/DC. Brock Lesnar got cut by the Vikings, couldn't make it, so he had to come back to the WWE and make a lot of money. Anywho, so it was announced that not only is Brock Lesnar going to be at the live event in New York City fighting the Big Show, He's going to be on the Steve Austin podcast. And my thoughts on that are, why the hell would you book somebody who you need to give an advocate to talk for him? Why the hell would you book him on a talk show podcast? I don't want to hear Brock Lesnar talk for an hour. I don't want to hear Brock Lesnar talk for a minute. That's why they have Paul Heyman, so you don't have to hear Brock Lesnar talk. He's not a great talker. And once again, I'm going to start to get on a rant, but once again, you all know how I feel about Brock Lesnar, the Brock Lesnars and the Nikki Bellas of the world. So we're not going to get into that. I get the fact that it's a big star, but like I said, I just don't understand why you would want Lesnar on this Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. Anyways, but the next announcement that was made during this promo commercial is that at Hell in a Cell, which is the next pay-per-view, Miz, get your shit together. The next pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell, will pit the Beast Brock Lesnar against the Dead Man, The Undertaker, in their third meeting. Lesnar Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. And I felt this was a really, really weird way of presenting this match. I feel like it would have made a lot more sense to at least have Heyman come out tomorrow night on Raw and make the announcement and say, and kind of hype up all day, Paul Heyman is coming. He has a big announcement on Brock Lesnar's future with the company. And so that would have boosted Raw ratings, which are complete crap the past few weeks and months. And it would have got people interested in the thing, except it just pops up in the middle of Night of Champions with no fanfare at all. And so I feel like, to me, that's a bit of a wasted opportunity. It seemed kind of odd to me that they would announce it that way. I'm sure they've got their reasons. It could just be that they're stupid, but I digress. So that is it for my thoughts on Night of Champions. I want to know what you guys think. So after you watch this show, go and tweet us at wwelockertalk on Twitter. Tell us your thoughts on Night of Champions. Tell us your thoughts on Raw tomorrow night. Tell us your thoughts on NXT on Wednesday night. Tell us your thoughts on Smack. Actually, you know what? You don't have to tell us your thoughts on SmackDown. Nobody really cares about SmackDown. But either way, get involved. Talk to us on Twitter. Comment on the show. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Blah, 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 blah. Although I'm sure everyone who's watching this probably has already subscribed and likes the video. All three of you, whoever watched the show. But anyways, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Hope everyone enjoyed Night of Champions. I hope you enjoy Raw tomorrow night. So once again, this has been WWE Locker Talk episode 26. I am your host, Koltyn, and I just accidentally closed the thing. But okay, we're back. I am Koltyn. This has been WWE Locker Talk episode 26. Thank you all. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow on Twitter for Monday Night Raw.